What's good, everyone? Appreciate y'all tuning back in with me. So, starting off with the bows this time, wanted to show off my notepad this time. I went ahead and did some damage calcs in the game. I've basically been doing what I've been doing since the start, which is resetting some of the weapons in my game to base 100, so I can get the damage calcs at base 100 instead of seeing like where they are by the time you maxed them out with 6 stars, full health boost, in peril, all that good shit. So but yeah, this is the base damage on all the bows, and I guess I should have put what the M's and the FDCs and the MDs and whatnot mean, but I guess in short, for anyone that's and like I said, I know I usually say these videos are kind of like podcast types, but for anyone that's looking, yeah, M, where you see, let's see, for instance, really, I'm not even gonna worry about this part. We'll just worry about what's down here. Like, so with the range power, for instance, FDC is just forward dash charge shot. That's the only thing I really calced on it. Like darkness bow, just pretty much ranked #1 in every category, from continuous fire, melee, and charge shots, all that good shit. And then yeah, and then with the melee section, MC is melee combo, MD melee dash, and then range, I just calculated, or I just looked at the meters, went as far as I could go in the training room, and saw how far the shot could go. Pretty simple. And then at the bottom is some miscellaneous stuff like Angel Bow having the strongest homing, Phosphora having the fastest movement speed, Arm having the god dang it, I can't talk today. I'm gonna have to edit that one out. And Arm having the highest firing rate, Divine Bow having the best continuous fire, or excuse me, the best continuous fire shot cancellation in the game, tied with, we talked about Brawler Claws last time, Ancient Staff, and I think that's it off the top of my head. Some other ones rival those two, and or not those two, those three in dash continuous fire, but not standing continuous fire. So overall continuous fire, I think would go to those three, being Brawler Claws, Divine Bow, and Ancient Staff. And then Darkness Bow just has the highest overall damage output out of all the bows. So yeah, I'll just have this on screen real quick for anyone that wants to look at it. We'll just reference it from time to time as I go through the tier list. I just wanted to show y'all that real quick, and then yeah, we'll just be referencing that, the Wikipedia page. I would take a look at the shot cancellation page, but like I just said, with the Divine Bow, it's got the highest shot cancellation out of not just the bows, but one of the highest in the game. So there's probably not going to be too much of a reason to reference this. It's pretty much just Divine Bow, and everything else is kind of similar in this regard. So I guess I'll just exit out of that. And yeah, I guess with Divinipedia, we'll start with Fortune Bow. So Fortune Bow, first blade of the bows. I really like Fortune Bow. I almost want to put it in B tier, but I can't. Yeah, I can't really think of anything that's making it stand out from like Tiger Claws or Somewhat Staff or Orb Staff. So yeah, I guess C tier is fine for now. It's kind of just average. It's not bad. Let me see where I ranked it in overall stats. Right, like it's it's average in range and distance, average in melee power, average in range power. So yeah, it's just pretty much the most average bow you can get. Can't really go wrong with it. Yeah, not really much else to be said. It's just kind of, well, usually I'll say it's outclassed, right? Like the first blade types of each class, I'll usually say those are outclassed. Like kind of with the tiger claws, for instance, right? I would say wolf claws are just tiger claws with burning properties and slightly less range, or variety claws are just a more souped up version of tiger claws overall with another innate paralysis, or not innate paralysis, innate status infliction. But yeah, with fortune bow, it's kind of like, well, yeah, it doesn't really, it's not really outclassed by any of the other bows, in my opinion. Like Palutena bow, for instance, right, which to me would probably be the most comparable, since, you know, Hawkeye, Divine, and Angel bow and Phosphora bow, and even Arm bow to an extent. All of these bows trade, and even Meteor bow. Yeah, these bows all trade power for another attribute, right? Like Angel bow trades power for homing, Arm for firing rate and slightly longer range and homing, Phosphora for movement speed and homing, Divine for shot cancellation, and I was finna say, oh my god, I was finna say Eagle bow. Hawkeye bow for shot cancellation and range, and then Meteor bow for range, just sheer range. So I can't really say fortune bow is outclassed, because it really outclasses like half of the rest of the other bows in sheer power, and then they all just have a different sort of, I guess, niche that makes them stand out, except for Hawkeye is just outclassed by Divine bow, I think. So but other than that, yeah, I guess power wise it's really only barely outclassed by everything else that isn't darkness bow, which just is just leagues above everything else. And then you have silver bow, which is pretty up there, but still not quite up to par with darkness bow. So I guess this will be a good spot for it for now. Maybe by the time I rank the other bows or something, I might move it up to B tier. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we got in store for the other bows. What is next on Divinipedia? Silver bow. Let's see. Silver bow, I got ranked second in power behind darkness. And yeah, I guess the only thing I need to explain with the damage ratios here, with darkness being 62 to 74, that's from max range set at 74, and then up close it's getting 62. I felt like I needed to do that with darkness when comparing it to silver bow for strongest range power, because silver you're getting 65 up close, which is stronger than darkness up close, but not stronger than darkness at its max range. So there's that. Plus silver from far away is actually the weakest bow, even weaker than Phosphora. So but you know, overall still comes in second. Melee, yeah, it ties with fortune, so right in the middle of the road there. And then I didn't really have anything else on miscellaneous for it to, or excuse me, that's noting anything else that stands out. But I guess aside from that, yeah, like I said earlier, it does have above average homing capability, so there's that. It's very nice if you like. I have to compare it to, say, like Lancer staff, for instance, right? Like if I had to pick one of the, you know, quote unquote up close range weapons, I'd say yeah, Lancer's my favorite, just like for the design. I just like using it. But I don't know, I might have to give it to Silverbow on this one, because it's not like Palms, for instance, right, where yeah, it's a primarily ranged based class, but all these weapons are kind of meant for mid-range or slightly up close. You know what I'm saying? Like all of their shots, excuse me, yeah, kind of like claws, blades, and other classes, all of their shots lose power over a distance despite them being primarily range based, whereas bows, staves, Yeah, I think they're the only, and yeah, some of the orbiters too. Yeah, I think they're the only ones whose shots grow in damage over a distance. So, but yeah, when it comes to those classes and picking one of the weapons that are stronger up close, I don't know. I guess comparing it to the other one, like, I'm trying to see, because the homing is really good, right? Like, it's good enough for me to want to compare it to arm bow, or not arm bow, arm blade, but it doesn't have arm blades firing rate. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, the damage is there, so y'all have to bear with me on this one. I'm having trouble deciding where I really want this to go, but I guess, yeah, I guess B tier is fine. Yeah, I mean, it's got a little bit more of a niche than Fortune, having more range and being stronger, but and better homing. But yeah, that's about it, really. I guess it's just a cut above the average. I can't really. Yeah, I'm just trying to. I haven't played with it in a while. That's the main thing. Some of these weapons I can go on all day about, like statistics and what I've gotten out of like just running the base 100 value damage calcs and whatnot. But yeah, some of the other ones I'm just gonna remember how I felt playing with them more than others. So that'll also be a factor. Let's see. Should we rank next? Meteor bow. Okay. Meteor bow. You know, it's funny. I didn't. Actually, yeah, I meant to say that when going into this video at the start. I meant to say, off the bat, none of the bows I think are above. I don't. Oh, guys, was that you? It went back to normal. Never mind. My background music just started acting up for some reason. But yeah, none of the bows I think are S tier. Just off top, right? Like looking at the last classes we've been ranking, like the blades, claws, and staves, and even then only 2 out of those 3 classes made it into the S tier, so it shouldn't be like too big a surprise to anyone. Even Angel Bow, which is one of the banned weapons on the Uprising Discord meta, it's kind of like eye track orbiters these days. We're like, sure, yeah, with the slip shot and homing BS, like, yeah, they go crazy, but you still got these, and Ninja Palm was just outwalks them, and all their shots are faster and charge faster, and they play with Bumblebee and all that other nonsense. So I don't think the slow homing, or like the slow super homing missile or projectile, is that is as egregious as I and many others initially thought when this game first came out. Like, yeah, back in 2013, yeah, you asked me 2013, yeah, I'd say Angel Bow is easily S tier. But I would also tell you eye track orbiters is the best weapon in the game. Nobody really, wet my shit up with fucking walking +4 light speed, standing charge shot, Bumblebee, Ninja Palm just yet. So nowadays, yeah, it would be a little different. But yeah, I don't think any of the bows are S tier, just off a rip. And then there's something else I was thinking of, but oh yeah, we're getting the Meteor bow. Yeah, Meteor bow. This bow is like hilariously bad to me. It's hilariously bad to me. I almost want to put it in F with Burst Blade, just for shits and giggles almost. But nah, I'm not gonna do you like that. Even still though, I definitely can't even put you on. I can't even put you on Fortune bow tier. That's like sure, more range, and I guess the unique properties on its continuous fire is something, but just looking at, I mean, I could just show y'all the damage calcs. Yeah, it's just not that strong. It's just not that strong at all. Yeah, the most range is nice, sure, but let me see. Yeah, melee, we're not gonna really look at that, but yeah, overall range power, Meteor, where did I have it? Yeah, it's ranked 8th. We're tied with 8th and 9th with arm bow, with 44 on the forward S charge shot, which is, yeah, definitely considerably weaker than Fortune. So Yeah, and it's not like Arm bow where it has the firing rate and the homing, or Divine bow where it has the shot cancellation going for it. It just has sheer range, and not even the longest range in the game at that, which it's fine. Longest range for a bow, I mean, yeah, cool, but +3 on any other bow, any other stronger bow like Sagittarius, Palutena, Darkness even. I mean, yeah, you're just getting a lot more mileage out of anything else with +3 shot range. So this, yeah, Meteor bow just doesn't really stand out to me. So moving on to Divine bow. Okay, Divine bow. You know what? I'm gonna stop referring to this to see which one I want to do next. Well, I mean, you know what? I guess I will. I will continue doing that just because it's easier to refer to the idle descriptions if I need it. But I don't really think I'm gonna need this too much. Although with Divine bow, Divine bow, it is pretty accurate. A bow made from what is sacred tree? It's fearsome energy. Yeah, this is a pretty accurate description. Its fearsome energy is kept in check by the bow's many seals. So, yeah, I guess that explains the damage output. It's pretty abysmal. Only what did I get for it? Yeah, 38 off the forward dash charge shot, and then yeah, that's just barely above Phosphora, second weakest range power in the game. So, yeah, not all that in that regard, but yeah, like I said, the idle description is in line. It's charge shots. Well, it says its charge shots have strong potential for shot cancellation, but it's continuous fires where it stands out. And then quickly charges, high homing ability. It does have that going for it. So that's one of the more accurate idle descriptions I've seen. So there's that. But yeah, the low power. I mean, even with everything else it has going for it. And admittedly, it's a weapon I haven't really played with a whole lot myself. I like the idea of it. I've tried it out a couple times, but from my experience, it was just nothing too crazy. It's just not hitting like you'd want it to, or like you'd want a bow to. Even when trying to play it from a more support role, I feel like it's just outclassed by Phosphora bow in that regard. Not necessarily from a shot cancellation standpoint, of course, but just from the movement speed it gets to run around the map, similar to like Brawler Claws, picking up items, and it's even better than Brawler Claws in the support aspect, in that like its range properties, it having an innate status. The homing it actually has the best homing out of all the bows. You technically have to give it to Angel bow because of how slow its shots are. It just has more time to home in on people, and like, yeah, if your target dodges, they have to worry about the shot looping back around and all that good shit. Whereas Phosphora bow is just too fast for that. But yeah, for a bow with traditional speed on its attacks, yeah, definitely got to give it to Phosphora. And then yeah, I'm trying to think of any other support roles it could play, but I don't know. That, and its shot speed is actually kind of slow too. I think it's a fair bit slower than Fortune. Not quite obviously, not quite Phosphora or Sagittarius levels. So yeah, it's all right. Like I said, it power wise, I would put it in the same tier as Meteor bow. It's just not hitting at all. But anything with its level of shot cancellation on the continuous fire, I can't really put in D tier. So it's got that much going for it at least. So onto Crystal bow. No, I'm sorry, Darkness bow. So the strongest overall bow in range and melee power. But even still, gosh, I don't know. I think it's only like B tier for me. Yeah, like even with it, it's kind of like Bear Claws, right? Bear Claws had the strongest melee and range power in its class, but with Bear Claws, you have the movement speed and the projectile firing rate kind of holding it back. And with Darkness bow, yeah, it really is just the firing rate. The continuous fire is pretty nice, but I mean, yeah, it's a bow, so none of the bows is continuous fire is anything to write home about, minus the shot cancellation on Divine, the firing rate on Arm, and I guess maybe Palutena bow for like the damage output. It does rack up quite a bit on the continuous fire, but so does Sagittarius, and then they're both outclassed again by Darkness, so, which yeah, I guess just between the charge time, like the charge time is really bad. It's like Knuckle Staff levels of bad. But at least unlike Knuckle Staff, its continuous fire isn't that bad. It's just, yeah, between the lack of homing, that, and I don't really care for bows as a melee weapon. Like, sure, it's strong, right? Like, what did I get it at for melee? Yeah, 49 on the melee combo, 63 on melee dash. That's like a cut, just a cut below Crusher Arm, I think, overall. So yeah, overall not even that impressive. It's only like Crusher Arm level, and it at least, I mean, sure, yeah, you at least surpass Knuckle Staff, right? It's stronger than some of the other strongest melee weapons, right? Like but then there's Boom Orbiters, which for some reason is even more cracked out than Darkness bow on melee. So I don't know, strongest melee and the bow class is nice, but overall when comparing it to other classes, just not all that. And then yeah, again, I don't really like bows for melee because kind of similar to the melee combo on claws, they just take too long. It's to a point where mid combo you can just get sniped or killed by your target, another one of your target's teammates. With the bows, I mean, yeah, you don't necessarily have that problem with the melee combo, but the dash attack is really where you're getting the most damage, because that's where they had the most hits. I think they had more or about the same amount of hits on their dash attack as the claws do on their melee combo. So I mean, yeah, it's a nice bit of damage, but yeah, it's hard to even land all the hits for all the melee dash attacks on all the bows. It's hard to even consistently land all the hits for them, and you need all the hits to connect to even get the most out of it. But even when you do it takes the animation a minute to get through it, so you're vulnerable throughout. And then yeah, with the way the hitbox detection for melee dash attacks in this game works, it's just not the best thing in the world to have a multi-hit for a melee dash, you know what I'm saying? Like, the best melee dash weapon in the game, upper dash, is just held back by this game having like late hits or early hits on the melee dash attack, between how the I guess just how the hitbox picks up on the opponent's hurt box. I'm not sure, but yeah, anyway, you got sour spots, and yeah, that's the thing with melee dash attacks in general is, like, as much as I love upper dash arm, I'm kind of skipping ahead in this instance, but like, that's a weapon I would say is like A tier, just for how good it is at its niche. Even though it has the strongest melee dash attack in the game, I mean, yeah, that doesn't mean like you're not gonna want to use anything else for a melee dash attack. Like, yeah, Samurai Blade's still strong, Raptor Claw's still strong, etc. But yeah, I would say A, and then maybe if you didn't have to worry about sour spots in this game, maybe S, because it is just that strong. But yeah, with sour spots, and especially on a bow, there's just, yeah, this is about as good as Darkness bow can get, in my opinion. So with that, moving on to the second strongest bow in the melee department, Crystal. I might have to put Crystal in C. I did want to put it in D just for the lack of range, obviously, but that's not innately a bad thing. Like a weapon like a crystal bow or scorpion staff having, I'm looking for Scorpio staff down here, like I didn't already rank it. Weapons like crystal bow and Scorpio staff having less range than average for their class, in a class which the power grows over a distance, is pretty nice, actually. That means your max damage range is a lot closer than other weapons, which has its its pros and cons. Its pros and cons. So yeah, with a traditional bow, you'd want to be far away to max out damage output. Same thing with crystal bow. You want to be at your max range, but again, that max range is more of like a mid-range, kind of like a palm type distance. Whereas, and then of course, unlike a palm, your shot's growing power over a distance. So it's I don't know, it's unique in that regard. I'm not really sure what they were trying to do when combining that aspect with the second most powerful melee of the class. Yeah, I'm not really sure what they were trying to go for with crystal bow. It's just a weird mix of trying to do what Scorpio staff actually pulls off, and then trying to be like a melee weapon like darkness bow. I don't know, it's really weird. I like it. The charge shots and continuous fire look really nice. The hitbox size on the shots is something to note. I think between the hitbox size and the way the gem on the charge shot kind of spirals, I'm not sure, but between that and like if it has just regular average homing for a bow, I think that all of those factors make the charge shot a bit harder to dodge. Maybe, I'm not entirely sure. Don't quote me on that one, because I know the charge shot isn't a multi-hit like Babel Club or something, right, where you can sure dodge one of the hitboxes, but as soon as the next hitbox will catch you in between iframes on your dodges and shit, unless you have +4 evasion or something. But yeah, overall, I'm not really sure what they were going for with this one, or like what it's trying to do. It's just, I see what it's trying to do. It's just not particularly good at it. So, but it's not, I won't say it's as bad as Meteor bow. So yeah, C tier's fine. What do we have next? Angel bow. Okay, so Angel bow, yeah, that's gonna be an easy A tier. Like I said, I can't really put it S tier, just because of its matchup versus, say, like Brawler Claws, Ninja Palm, and even compared to other weapons that would ideally like to sit back somewhere on the map, like Desert Tomb or Cave of Spirits, and just abuse Slipshot. Even for all the other weapons that like to do that, I mean, it's one of the best for sure, but homing wise, it's just, it's still barely outclassed by these. Range power wise, a couple of clubs like Black Club are a lot better damage wise and shot cancellation wise, right? Like you can just straight up beat other weapons that like to do the same thing. Like Babel Club will always lose to Black Club when in a slip shot war. If you got Black Club shots out moving through walls and they collide with Babel Clubs, yeah, I mean Black Club's always gonna win that one, unless for some reason the Babel Club user just has +1 shot cancellation and Black Club doesn't. And then I know there's different levels, like Black Club's standing charge shot I think has like a innate value of 5 or 6 or something like that, and then the dashes all have 5 or 6. It varies between each weapon, of course, but yeah, honestly, kind of forgot which. Okay, I was like, hold on, I kind of went on too long of a tangent, forgot which bow I was talking about. Yeah, Angel. Yeah, it's I don't know, it's just not one of my favorite weapons personally. Like I just don't really care for slow shots in particular, unless it's something like Black Club. It's just funny looking at the little spinning top Beyblade like projectiles going through walls and shit. Which is funny because I prefer to use this weapon with like invisible shots, so it's more effective. But anyway, which yeah, I guess you could say the same thing for Angel bow. But that's getting into powers, like I said at the start of this whole series. That is being factored in. I wish I'd now that I think about it, I'm kind of like, yeah, I wish I'd maybe stop to bring some powers up to see how they'd, or at least to talk about how they could affect the placement of some of these weapons. Like I'd say even without it, laser staff is still an A tier weapon, but then I think of it with invisible shots. I'm like, yo, that might actually be like well, I still say it's an A tier weapon, but yeah, that, you know what I'm saying, that bumps my opinion of it up a little bit more, I guess. Just because I like it with invisible shots more than, say, like flintlock staff, which already has blinding shot speeds. So does laser staff, but you know, it's with the nature of its projectiles, with how long they are, and the not to mention the continuous fire. It's just really nice. So I mean, anyway, I'm talking too long about other weapons. Gosh, yeah, and then I was about to go on a whole tangent about power, so forgive me as I try to reassess what I'm comparing Angel Bow to here. Yeah, I guess I would just have to come back to it when looking at other weapons and comparing it to anything else that likes to do the slip shot homing boosting, because I mean, yeah, I guess you can say eye track's the best at it, but just because eye track exists, I mean, yeah, I wouldn't say that's enough of a reason to just, you know, invalidate the existence of Angel Bow or Black Club or Babel Club, anything else that likes to go with those playstyles, because bows in general like to do that too. I'd say Arm Bow is pretty good at it just because of the innate homing and the firing rate, and Sagittarius because of the sheer damage. But other than that, I mean, yeah, you can run slipshot on any bow and get a fair degree of success, minus like a darkness bow, right? But obviously, yeah, Angel Bow's is the best at it. It's the best at abusing it, at least for, you know, the sheer homing standpoint, and then Sagittarius from a sheer power standpoint. Because darkness obviously just lacks the innate homing, and then crystal the innate range. So, and then there's Palutena, which is stronger than Sagittarius, but like, let me see here. Yeah, Palutena is stronger than Sagittarius, but I think Sagittarius's homing capability is better, plus its shot speed. And I don't know, I've played with both. It's just something about Sagittarius is it's like the nature or properties of its shots or something. They're just like perfect for its class almost. Like it's got the right speed. It's not, you know, it's not quite lightning speed like Phosphora, or and it's not quite as strong as Crystal, Palutena, or Darkness. And it doesn't have, you know, it doesn't even like rival Arm Bow or Hawkeye in terms of range. It's just like a super fortune bow, I guess you can call it. Yeah. But anyway, I'm jumping ahead on that one. Gosh, Angel Bow, right? Yeah. I was like, where were we? Angel Bow and then Hawkeye. Okay. So yeah, Angel Bow. I mean, for what it is, I'd say, yeah, even in the meta without the banned weapons, right, like Brawler Claws, yeah, I'd say it's still A tier. I've seen some people rank it S tier, and I get it, but not quite there for me, just for the damage output and how many other weapons kind of like to do the same thing as this. So moving on from that to Hawkeye, which I think is pretty bad. I might, you know what? Yeah. Nah. I'll put you in C tier. I was thinking about putting it in D. I was thinking about its damage output and comparing it to Fortune Bow, which is, I mean, yeah, it's pretty weak, but you know, kind of like a Divine Bow, I guess. It's got enough going for it for me to not deem it complete trash. It's definitely, like, even though these are both in C tier, I would definitely still rank it below Divine Bow. Definitely not as good as Divine Bow for the shot cancellation on the continuous fire. But of course, it does have the second longest range of any bow. I'm trying to think of what else it has going for it, but yeah, I think that's it. I think that's literally it. Yeah, it's just really weak overall, and yeah, shot cancellation wise, kind of outclassed by Divine Bow. Not really much else it has going for it. And yeah, on top of long charge time, yeah, there's that as well. So you know what? Honestly, might move you down to D. Yeah, I'd say that's a fair spot. So arm bow, you my friend, I might have to, because I do like you, but you just damage wise, not that strong. It's got again, like divine bow, it's got other attributes going for it, like homing, slightly above average range, and then overall in the bow's case, firing rate. But yeah, damage wise, it's just being held back in that regard. It's not sure. Yeah, angel bow also lacks power, but that homing is just that crazy. So whereas the homing on arm bow is really nice, but shots are a lot faster, similar to like Phosphora bow, so it doesn't get to abuse it as hard as angel bow. But at least in the charge shot area, the continuous fire actually do go kind of crazy. I'll give it that. But again, damage wise, it's just not holding up. Even with the continuous fire, as rapid as it is, and sure, it being on one of the weapons that has a projectile strength rolling over a distance, makes it stand out to something like Compact Arm, which has a similar playstyle with continuous fire. Compact Arm, Phoenix Arm, Violet Palm. Trying to think of anything else. I guess most palms in general, right? Like you could do that with Violet Palm, Curse, Ninja Needle, etc. Right? So I mean, yeah, for the weapons that like to abuse that sort of streamlined level of continuous fire, not like the claws where they just have like all of them just have cracked out continuous fire rates. But I mean, yeah, that's just, I don't know. Claws, it's just I don't know if any of the claws you would like build an entire set around continuous fire. For instance, like as good as Wolf Claws is in that regard, or even Hedgehog, right? Like it's just Hedgehog would be the one to stand out the most in that regard, but I don't think you can at least viably run a whole play style or set around just its continuous fire. And it's kind of the same thing with bows in general. The Palutena's is really good, but that would definitely, that would probably be a mix of continuous fire and dash charge shots whenever you get a hold of one after waiting for a little bit. But other than that, yeah, the continuous fire, it's just it just doesn't stand out enough for me to rank it above C. It's enough of a niche for me to at least put it on Fortune Bow's level, where again Fortune Bow doesn't really stand out, minus the fact that it's just outranking so many of the other bows beneath it and just raw power, which is definitely not common for the first blade weapon of the class to do in any of the other classes. But yeah, I guess that's enough of a explanation for why some of these just might seem kind of underwhelming. I definitely haven't been hyping any of these bows up as much as the other weapons, but it's kind of, the Fortune Bow benchmark is kind of why. So yeah, that's my explanation for Arm Bow. Moving on to, we got Palutena and Phosphora, and I'm sorry, I skipped Sagittarius. Whoops. Let's see, Sagittarius we'll put in half me wants to put it in A, but not quite. I'm really trying here, y'all. I'm really trying to give more credit to the bows here. Like I really want to put this in A, but it's just comparing it to Silver Bow, for instance, right? It's like Silver Bow is really technically the inverted Fortune Bow, but then Sagittarius is just a souped up version of Fortune Bow. So I feel like you can kind of compare these two, but you know, even then, yeah, silver bow has the higher overall damage output, at least, or I say overall, it has the higher maxed out damage output, you know, just because it's stronger up close. But yeah, I'm trying to think of something to say for Sagittarius bow. It's not really a whole lot for it though. Like I said, yeah, it's just souped up fortune bow. It's really nice with slip shot, like a couple of the other bows, like Angel and whatnot. But yeah, I kind of already explained it, I guess. I guess that's my problem with skipping ahead when comparing other weapons and whatnot. I'll get to the weapon that I was using to compare, you know, a previous one to, and then I'm like, well, I already talked about this, so there's my explanation. So forgive my lack of I guess effort on that one, but yeah, I don't really want to linger on it too long. So yeah, power wise, it's just it's good. And then I think the main thing that's supposed to stand out with Sagittarius bow is the piercing effects that its shots have, even on its continuous fire. Because the sound effect is crazy. I mean, it's not the only weapon in the game where its charge shots can go through one target and kill another. But the sound effect on Sagittarius, more so than like any other weapon in the game, is more satisfying for some reason. It makes me feel like it's doing way more damage than it probably is, which is why I'm thinking it's got to be A tier. But then I actually ran the calcs. It's not even really like all that technically. It's just a cut above fortune bow, really. So yeah, between that and doesn't it have like above average charge time too? Yeah. I don't think quite as bad as darkness bow, but that's still something to factor in. So yeah, with that, moving on to what we got next. Palutena, that's another B tier for me. I can't quite rank it above Sagittarius. Sure, it's stronger in overall damage output, but I don't know, the shot properties aren't anything too crazy. Like they're fast, but yeah, it doesn't have like I was gonna say it doesn't have like crystal bow's hitbox size, for instance, right? But that's not really anything that I was particularly looking at when ranking this particular class. But gosh, yeah, let me look at the idle description, because I know it's always making a point of Palutena bows is shots gaining speed as they travel, and them being a lot stronger over a distance, more so than other bows. Or I think the damage ratio or the multiplier over a distance is the same, but I don't know. I just noticed Palutena is really, really weak up close. It's just a lot better up. It's just a lot better from far away. So between that, yeah, it didn't really stand out a whole lot to me. Yeah, it doesn't have it doesn't have Arm bows' homing. Sure, I guess speed and power wise it does outrank Sagittarius, but again, Sagittarius might be fooling me with the sound effects on its piercing shots, man. When I just think of Sagittarius, I just think of the power of the bow class, essentially, even more so than like darkness bow. But I don't know, maybe that's just my bias from playing with it more than other bows, I guess, minus like Phosphora bow. I like Phosphora bow a lot. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it doesn't have Arm bows' homing or firing rate, doesn't have Divine's shot cancellation, or darkness's power, or silver bow's inverted damage effects, so, or Phosphora bow's innate status. So yeah, it's very middle of the road. It's just it's not weak enough for me to put it like fortune bow level. But, and even though I would rank it above fortune bow is usually like my go-to bow, just for one, for the simplicity, but and then of course too, yeah, it outranking every like half the other bows with something unique to make them stand out for lack of damage. And then you got you have pretty much all of these right here from silver to Palutena that outrank fortune and damage. And then I think that's it really. Yeah, everything else just outranks it in damage. Phosphorus is the last one we got to rank. So with Palutena, Sagittarius, and Darkness, I'm not gonna be looking at silver too much again because it's like inverted fortune bow to me. But yeah, with these three in particular, yeah, they just outrank fortune enough by damage for me to rank them above them. But me personally, I'm still more of a fortune bow guy over these, just because, yeah, you don't have to worry about the charge time with these. And then, like I said, I think Palutena's bows is shots. I think the multiplier, for some reason, I'm not sure. I just noticed it's really, really weak on it's just really, really weak up close. I guess because the shots don't have enough distance to pick up that speed that the idle description is talking about. I'm not sure. But between that and, I mean, the homing's there, but I guess homing's not going to be too much of a factor when talking about anything besides Angel, Phosphora, maybe Arm to an extent, and Silver. But yeah, that's about it. Because they all have pretty good homing, so it's hard to compare those. It's hard to compare this class's homing abilities to each other outside of the main ones that excel at it, like I said, with Angel and Phosphora. So yeah, Palutena is just very middle of the road to me, I guess. So I wish I had more to say about it, 'cause, I mean, yeah, it's Palutena, but it's, I guess, supposed to be the iconic one. But yeah, anyway, moving on to the last one, Phosphora. That's an easy A tier for me. In a meta without banned weapons, I'd say S tier probably, but yeah, it's just a little too weak. Obviously, it's got the lowest overall range damage output of any of the bows, and funnily enough, pretty average melee damage output. Yeah, top 5. That's pretty funny to me, actually, because of the movement speed. I guess yeah, if you wanted a melee bow with better movement speed than Darkness, I mean, yeah, this is the option. It wouldn't serve you too bad, I guess. But yeah, like I said, we're not really ranking melee with this class in particular. So yeah, at least outside of Darkness and Crystal. But anyway, let me look at the sheer range here. 48 meters. So yeah, excuse me, the shortest range out of all the bows minus Crystal. So I mean, yeah, between that and the damage, you would think it has enough going against it to just be like C or D tier, but at least top for it. But yeah, I mean, my bias for weapons with innate status and yeah, this having the fastest movement speed out of all the bows. I mean, it's got that going for it, at least. The fastest movement speed on a weapon, on a ranged weapon at that. It's like, sure, it's nice, but it's not like Samurai Blade. We're like, oh yeah, that's really nice. Yeah, like, yeah, you want it to be a cut above the average blade or the first blade, right? Whereas this, I mean, it's like, I guess, sure, if you want a bow and slightly better movement speed, then sure, but it actually helps it in the support role, like I was talking about earlier. Similar to, say, Brawler Claws, you can just zip around the map picking up items for support, at least, to make up for the lack of damage output with something like item attack +4, double item powers, item toss boost. Yeah, it's got that going for it. The innate paralysis and strongest homing capability outside of the Angel Bow is really nice. Overall, it's just a really solid support weapon. I've used it quite a bit, and I think my bias is what's really pushing it up to 8 right now. But Phosphora, yeah, it's got enough going for it outside of, you know, its lack of range damage and Yeah, just comparing it to the benchmark. Yeah, the speed, innate paralysis, homing, even the firing rate to some extent. Yeah, it's enough for me to rank it a good cut above the benchmark. So yeah, with that we have the bows. Like I said, none of these I was ever really gonna place an S, just because I don't know. I think bows, I don't want to call them underwhelming, but yeah, I mean, there's no, even for the strongest melee, you know, there's no samurai blade. And yeah, even for the strongest range power, I'm trying to think of what else I could compare it to. And well, I mean, there's no real range gameplay to compare it to an S tier, so I guess comparing it to like Bullet Blade, for instance, yeah, the firing rate, shot speed, overall damage output is pretty comparable, I guess. There's okay, Pandora Claws would be a better comparison. Like, sure, it's just average power on all of its other shots minus the backward dash, but yeah, even that alone, in tandem with the melee combo, is enough for me to rank it a high tier weapon. Whereas, yeah, Darkness, it just being, yeah, kind of like Bear Claws, it just being the strongest in both categories of its class. Yeah, it's just not enough, really. In a game with, you know, 100 other weapons that are all relative, not all of them, but most of them are at least somewhat relative in power, enough to make up the difference between modifiers and energy charge. Like, yeah, it's not, sheer damage alone isn't going to get a weapon too high on at least my tier list. Even though I went through the trouble of, you know, listing all the base damage calculations in the game. Or I say calculations, I guess it's not like Pokemon where you need to calculate how much a certain move does to a specific mon, right? But you know what I mean. Yeah, even with these, right, like, it's just, yeah, it's not like but even in mons with base stats, you can't really, yeah, you can't just rank mons on base stats either, you know. Some are just gonna thrive more depending on which meta you're playing, right? So that's the only thing really, I guess, that I wanted to kind of clear. Anyway, appreciate y'all tuning in. I know this was kind of I don't want to say underwhelming, like yeah, I want to say underwhelming, I guess. Just yeah, it's a little different than the other parts, because this is definitely the most, it's definitely the most L's I've handed out to a class before, so far. Yeah, with only 2 out of the whole class to make it into high tier class, let alone top tier. They didn't even make that. That's just high. And then, yeah, everything else just kind of average or below average. Hell. Anyway, appreciate y'all tuning in as always. I will be back whenever I feel like recording, I guess, for the Palms. So, yeah, as always, catch y'all next time.